Good day, dear friend. Welcome back to Real Hope. My name is Eileen. If you haven't been with me before, I look forward to seeing you again. I hope you enjoy today's talk. I was reading in the Bible, actually the other day, and I wanted to share with you some thoughts that I had because I think we're kind of living in a time where we need to make sure that we get things straight. So a lot of people have rejected God for various reasons. If there was a God, then the world wouldn't be in the shape that it's in. Or I stopped going to church because the people in church, they hurt me. Or the pastor, I didn't agree with the way he was running the church. And so I wanted to look at not only have people rejected God because of outside sources, but they've also rejected God because they didn't actually think that he came or did what they expected or desired of him. So the Pharisees are probably the beginning example, because when Jesus came, the Messiah is supposed to come and he's supposed to redeem the people from bondage and from the Romans, and they want to be delivered, and they expect it to happen in a certain way. And they did not expect Jesus to come in a lowly form. Instead of coming and accepting these Pharisees who were so educated and so learned into his circle, Jesus found the uneducated and the lowly, and these were the disciples that that followed him, that he educated, that he worked with. And so they didn't like that because they were losing their standing. And you're going around and you're healing people, and it's making us look bad because we're supposed to be all that and a bag of chips too. And so they totally missed the day of visitation of Jesus, okay? But also, so I'm reading in the book of Mark, chapter 11, and I see that Jesus is getting ready to come into Jerusalem. This is before his crucifixion. And they've seen all the miracles of Jesus, and that he's raised people from the dead, and he's healed people, and he's fed, the thousands, and they're like, this is our Messiah. And so as Jesus is riding in on a colt, they are throwing down palms, and they're throwing their coats and their cloaks on the ground and saying Hosanna in the highest, and they are so excited about their coming king who's going to redeem them. But then when Jesus is arrested and he doesn't overthrow the Romans in the way that they expected, then they're yelling, crucify him, crucify him. So they've turned their back on Jesus because he did not live up to their expectations. There's another example, and this one is in the book of John, and it's in the chapter 6. You can read up on it. But Jesus is talking to his many disciples, not just the 12 apostles, but many of his disciples. And he tells them, and this is verse 53 and 54, Verily, verily, I say unto you, except you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you. Whosoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up on the last day. Well, you can imagine, rather than wait and try to understand where is this coming from, they totally reject him and they walk away. And Jesus says to his 12, will you leave also? Well, Peter says, I'm just paraphrasing, but basically he's saying there is no word of life in any other. So he recognized that, okay, I don't really understand what you just said, but I know you to be true. And so we need to recognize God for who he is, and he's not always going to do things the way that we think they should be done. And we need to step off of our soapbox, our high horse, and we need to remove pride from us and thinking that we know better how God should run the universe, how things should be done, how that pastor should say his sermon, whether or not, I'm sorry, but I think the carpet should be green and not blue. And if you're not going to listen to my thoughts on this situation, I'm out of this church. Or if that person offended me, then you Christians aren't all about that. You're just a bunch of hypocrites. So we need to recognize that that we're not only is God not going to live up to our expectations, he has a plan and a purpose, and we need to get to know him and learn from him so that we can fall in line with what he's doing, because he is perfect, and everything that God does is stemmed from love. And it's not just about you or I, but it's about all of creation and how he loves us, and it's all about protecting us. And he has a plan, but you might not be receiving all God has for you because you're not walking in the plan and the ways that God has provided for our protection, for our provision. We need to seek wisdom from him so that we can receive all that he has for us. So, in the book of Thessalonians, it talks about at the end times, in the end days, there's going to be a great falling away. And I believe that falling away is going to come and is happening because of pride and unrealistic expectations, and people not being patient and drawing close to God so that they can hear God and understand God and his ways. But my prayer for you is that you will not be part of the falling away, that you will not miss what God is doing, that you will listen for that still small voice, that you will listen for the voice of God in his word and spend time with him so that you can know what he's doing and you can receive all that he has for you and help others to receive from him as well. I hope you got something out of this today. I enjoy chatting with you, and I would love to hear a comment from below. Just leave a comment. I'm also going to put a couple of links for New Life Radio. We have some ministers from around the country sharing awesome messages that will help you grow in your walk with the Lord. Also, Pastor Chris Morgan has a program about current events and what's going on that we really need to be aware of. So I'm going to put that link below as well. And I hope to see you next time. God bless.